everybody, we're back. We didn't think that we'd be back this soon, but with Friday's bloodbath, we thought Brian
in the metals market.
Yeah, bloodbath in the metals market. We thought we better come back and kind of give the update and address everybody. If you've been buying and selling silver and gold and you feel like a sucker today,
come and get a free one because we all feel the same way.
Yeah, let's step back and talk about where we were at last week when we made our video and kind of catch everybody up to where we're at today. So we made our video last Wednesday, and we're aware it didn't get published till like Friday, Saturday.
Very, very poor timing, but who knew?
Yeah, who knew? Who knew? So when we filmed that video, spot on silver was 116.
Right in there.
And then the next day, by Thursday, it was hovering around 116, mostly around 114, but basically lateral.
Pretty much all day.
Then you come to Friday, and it went as low as $71, but closed at 76. And that's a $43 swing from where it was at. Before Friday, we were able to, the National Pawnbrokers Association, and there's a group on Facebook called Pawnbrokers Helping Pawnbrokers. Together, they did a joint podcast for pawnbrokers, talking about several things, talking about what's going on with the refineries, and really gave us some good information.
Yeah, very enlightening. No question about it. 2 or 3 heads of the large refiners were there, along with several pawnbrokers. Mid-States, was it Jack Brown?
Jack Brown,
Jack Brown. We appreciate those guys. They really put out some good information, talking about how the large bullion banks froze their line of credit or leasing, which I didn't understand the difference between leasing and line of credit. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So shout out to those guys for really some valuable information on how this situation might have come about. They were kind of feeling like the rise in the price was due to the tariffs, the wars, the uncertainty, and that's probably all true. I think there's a little bit more to it than that, but those guys they know their stuff. But what we want to discuss is not how we got to the top, but how we ended up back where we ended up at. Let's jump on one other thing first. Well, so if you guys watched last week's video, number one, we appreciate you taking time to do that. It's pretty awesome. We'll recap a little bit of what we covered in that for those that didn't see it. But today we're definitely going to address the flash crash, the bloodbath, basically the engineered theft of everybody's money. We got some facts and figures. I even brought some notes today, if I can read them.
And really, these facts validate what we were saying in that last video.
Right. We talked about why we don't speculate as a business. I know the pawnbrokers seminar they put out, there was pawn shops that were increasing lines of credit and doing certain things so they can continue buying the metals, which under normal circumstances is not a bad idea. I try to keep the money rolling, turn and burn, churn it, whatever the terminology is. My personal stuff at home, yes, I speculate on it. I buy it, I let it sit. But if it's for the shop, I don't want to get caught in a situation like Friday. Yeah. And fortunately, we were sitting pretty good. We're not going to lose much money. Yeah. We actually wholesaled some the day before, which was more luck than, we had no idea what was coming, but
yeah,
I feel for these shops. That one shop talked about buying $250,000 worth of gold 2 days before that.
Yeah.
So now what are you going to do? And part of the problem too is you still have nowhere to go. The refiners are still froze. It's trickling down. Even my personal gold buyer, he's backing off because the guy he sells to is shut down because the refiners aren't taking it.
It's a trickle-down effect.
Yes.
The refineries are backlogged. They're stopped taking a lot of silver. So these middle guys, the wholesalers, they've backed off, or if they're still taking it, they're way under spot.
Right.
One of the biggest wholesalers in the state that we've had dealings with, so you called them last Wednesday, they were $7 behind spot.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, they were 12 back. Today, as of filming, if you call, they are $14 behind spot.
Right.
So trickling down, the refineries are backed up, the wholesalers are backed up, and that's going to trickle its way down to small shops like us.
Yep.
So let's talk about what caused the crash.
I might get on my soapbox. It's kind of a pet peeve. Like everything else in our country, the stock market, the metals market, it's fake, it's rigged, and it's controlled for the boys with the money. And we're not in it. So with that being said, you have to learn how to play their game, which is tough. To give you an idea, in my opinion, and I'm a nobody, I have a pawn shop, I'm not an expert.
You're not a nobody to me, boss.
Thanks, buddy. Free lunch tomorrow as always. That was a totally
Coordinated.
globally coordinated attack on the bullion markets to drive the price down so these large banks can dump some of their short positions. And in my opinion, it started back with the freezing of the accounts of the refiners. Kind of look at it as this is a bad analogy, but a zero-turn mower, you got two levers. Running one lever, you don't know where this thing's going to go. If you got control of both levers, you can steer that thing wherever you want. Kind of like I alluded to oil hitting minus $40 a barrel a couple years back. Yeah. That was a coordinated attack.
Yeah.
So the big banks, and I'm not talking about your local banker, the big banks froze the refiners' money. Then they come over here with this hand, and all at the same time on a global scale, dumped all their shorts to drive the price down.
Yeah. And shorts are contracts for paper. Silver, not physical. They say for every 1 physical ounce, there's somewhere between 100 and 300 ounces on paper.
Right. And every contract has, I believe, 5,000 ounces of silver. So, for example, I think it was Friday, JP Morgan Chase, and let me just look at my notes here. JP Morgan Chase dropped 633 contracts they cleared off their books. And amazingly enough, they'd done that at the exact bottom of the day. Not really sure how they would know that unless they're controlling it. The same thing they got charged with several years ago and paid a $920 million fine, but yet they're still doing it.
Yeah.
The large bullion banks are running a criminal enterprise. Them in cahoots with our federal government. I don't know where the CFTC's at. They're obviously not looking out for the people. They're running amok, and to prove that they're criminals, done a little Google, top 5 banks since 2000. So we're talking 25 years that's had illegal activity caught and had to pay fines. Bank of America is number 1, $87.9 billion in fines since 2000. JP Morgan Chase, $40.2 billion in fines. Wells Fargo, $27.9 billion. Citigroup, $27.1 billion. And according to AI, and to my recollection, not one of the top executives went to jail. It's a payoff. It's a, hey, let's cook the books, run the markets up and down. We'll pay a big fine. Government gets $920 million. We make a couple $1 billion. Yep. For those of us holding the medals, it's a total scam.
We're left holding the bag.
Absolutely. But you can't count on our government to do anything. We're not getting political. Both parties, it's all the same. Doesn't matter who's in charge.
And let's just make it real clear right now. The dramatic price drop had nothing to do with the Fed chair.
Right. Absolutely didn't. But yet that's the narrative that I've been hearing on the news media. That's the propaganda, to take your eyes off of what really happened on Friday.
Yep.
So I don't know how many, several $1 trillion wiped out of the market.
Yeah.
You know, and the downside is for a lot of the shops that were stepping up to the plate, paying, say, 95% on silver, 90% on sterling, you know, a lot of them guys might not survive. Yeah. If you had a couple thousand ounces and you lose $40 an ounce, I mean, you've lost a chunk of change. And also, if you've bought it up, it may be a month, it may be a year, it may never come back to 120. Plus, you still have nowhere to sell the stuff because they're still locked down. They're talking anywhere from 3 weeks to 3 months to get paid if you send to a refiner.
Kind of like, was it 2010, 2011 when it went up to 48 an ounce and then came all the way back down to like 20 an ounce.
That was total manipulation too.
It's been, what, 15 years to get that
back
price back. We're a small shop. It wasn't that long ago we had like 400 ounces, which, you know, that's not a lot, but a $40, $45 change, I mean, boom, there's 15, 20 grand gone that may never come back. For small shops, you know, fortunately we had sold ours, but for small shops, people could really lose their livelihood and lose their businesses because of stuff like this.
Yeah. To give you an idea how crazy it is, Shanghai closed, I believe, at $110 on Friday, where we was at 77.
Yeah.
And this whole time, 76. China's buying billions of dollars worth of ounces and standing for delivery, which is going to put the COMEX in a big hole. I heard the number that they have 500 million ounces standing for delivery, but only have 100 million ounces available.
Yeah.
Got to come from somewhere. And the games are just unbelievable. So what I would tell people, if you bought silver, at the 100, 110, 115, I would continue to buy it as it drops, cost average out. This is a long-term play, in my opinion. I hold it as a hedge against inflation. I don't buy silver hoping it goes up $2 next month so I can make a quick profit. Now, when it jumps like it has, yeah, you want to take a little bit of profit off the table. Fortunately we did, but a lot of people didn't. And it was, like I say, it was luck. I wasn't watching the markets, wasn't expecting it to crash, but.
Yeah, so we're still buying.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to sell, we're still here. You can come in and sell to us. But we really hope you kind of watch this, kind of take it to heart that, it's not a simple up or $3 behind spot. I mean, the refineries are still backlogged. The wholesalers are backlogged.
My gold buyers still aren't buying because they're backlogged.
Yeah. So, if you come in and we're $15 behind spot, oh, you're ripping me off. We have to have somewhere to sell it.
Yeah.
And right now it's about an 8-to-1 ratio. For every 8 ounces coming in, maybe 1 ounce is going out the door.
Yeah.
So we have to have a place to sell the excess.
Yeah. And we have paid a little tighter today. We wasn't back $15, but it may come to that point if we get like a whole suitcase full of it back there.
Right.
And that's what the big guys are doing too. They'll keep buying, but they're going to get farther and farther back.
Yep.
And there's still the availability online. It's still slim, and the shortage is still real. Everything that we talked about, why the price went up, is still in play. This is an anomaly that the banks pulled. I don't care what anybody says. That was orchestrated. It was freaking criminal, but they've been doing it for decades. It's not going to change. Our government's not going to do anything about it, no matter who's in power. It is what it is. So for us little guys, we just play it the best we can. They was talking about mining, that there's a net shortage. Well, about a net breakout, but in 2025, I'm going to read my notes here. They estimated 813 million to 835 million ounces was produced worldwide. Okay. And we recycle about 190 million ounces. So what is that? About a million ounces, roughly, a little bit under?
Yeah.
Okay. From what I can gather, and Google's our friend, about 60% of that, a little bit under, is used solely for manufacturing. Okay.
Yeah. So that's going to be your AI data centers, your batteries, your solar panels, your satellites.
That doesn't include the new Samsung batteries.
Okay.
They were projecting if that new battery, solid state, takes 35 ounces each.
So 35 ounces of silver per one
battery.
Car battery.
Yes. Now, how big that is, I don't know. But if those batteries in electric cars reach 20% of the market, which I think probably won't quite do that, that's a rise of 500 million ounces a year in silver on top of the increase in solar panel usage. Yeah. It just rises. There's a shortage. There's not enough silver. That doesn't include all the governments that are now stacking. It's a strategic mineral.
Yep.
Doesn't include all the people that's buying it. I bet only 1 or 2 or 3% of the population even owns silver.
Yeah.
So if you picked up another 5% of investors, where would you be at?
Yeah, a shortfall.
There's a lot at play. And another thing that's in play 3 or 4 times in the last month, like on last Monday when it crashed, the CME raised their requirements for the short and long positions. You got to put a bigger percentage of cash down. So on Friday, they tell them, like, if the premium was 10%, they say, well, you got to raise it to 20%. You got to have it in here by Monday, or we're going to liquidate your shorts. Yeah, which is what they've done. They've done that 2 or 3 times. And I know last year the refiner made a comment that 1 month the bank just decided they was going to raise their line of credit to 100% interest. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Let's put that in terms of our customer base. So let's say we finance your loan at 23%. And then all of a sudden we come back and say, hey, you want to keep your item? We're going to need 35%. And if you don't have it paid by Monday, it's ours.
Yeah.
That's essentially the same thing that the banks did to the refiners.
What I don't understand, I'd love to ask the guys from mid-states, how does it work if they got X million ounces in the queue or in refining that they have a lease or a lien on against the bank? Now all of a sudden the prices drop to the toilet. Do they lose money? How does that work? All these people have to be taking a haircut on this stuff.
Yeah. Where's that cut taking
place?
Who's
taking the loss?
Yeah.
I think long term, the play on silver is still strong. It's still way above where it was at. So for all you people that's been in for a couple of years, you're still sitting good. I would tell people that bought at the high price, don't panic, ride it out, keep stacking. You know, a stack of dollars is worthless. They say, I think it's got 3% of the purchasing power it had back in 1971 when it come off the gold standard.
Yeah.
If you think of it that way, gold and silver has way outstripped the value of what the dollar's doing.
Yep.
Then
Think about it. A silver dollar back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 1 ounce of silver dollar was worth $1.
Mm-hmm.
Today, a 1 ounce of silver is worth
$77.
$77.
That's how you have to look at it. Things aren't becoming more valuable because they cost more. They cost more because the dollar's becoming worth less, and it takes more of them to buy the same item.
Yep, exactly.
That's one thing you have to remember. So, I mean, we could go on. It's mind-boggling. I just can't believe that the nonsense that happened last week. The up and down was just out of this world.
And even the swings, used to a big swing was like $1 or $2.
Oh yeah, or even 50 cents.
Even 50 cents. And now it's nothing throughout the course of the day to see it swing $5 or $6.
Mhm.
Like there are times where someone call in, you quote them a price, and by the time they get here an hour later, the price has changed because it's so dramatic.
When I sold my gold last week, my buyer come in. He was at another shop, and by the time he was at that shop, done their business and made it to my shop, gold went up $100.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's days it goes the other way that much.
Yeah.
And that's pretty drastic. Yeah. So I mean, you got the big banks controlling the mining and refining in by pulling their money. You got their shorts and long positions that they have to get out of. There's way more at play than what they're wanting to tell you.
It's a rigged game that's meant for them to make money.
Well, what did George Carlin say? It's a big club or something like that, and we're not in it.
Yeah, we're not in it.
You just got to remember that the world's always been like that. It's not going to change. You're not going to mess with the big boys' money. So that's just how it goes.
One thing we do want to mention before we conclude, there's been some stellar names given for our little buddy here.
Oh, I haven't even seen those.
And we really weren't planning on coming back on this soon.
No.
But because of the shortfall and the bloodbath on Friday, we were like, we got to get back on here and talk. So we appreciate everybody who's thrown out some names. There's some really good ones, and we're still in the process of hammering down which one we want to use.
Yep. And we thought we'd take his hat off so you could see him.
This is him in his natural habitat. If you come in during business hours, he looks just like this with suckers in the bowl.
Yeah. Well, sometimes there are any suckers in the bowl, but
yeah, it depends how many customers have been through.
Yeah.
So, but no, we really appreciate everybody who tuned in and listened to the end and posted comments, watched on all of our different platforms, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. We really do appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen to us.
Yeah. And I will say, the other day I made the comment that I am sick of talking about silver and gold. Holy cow, the phone's rung off the hook and everybody comes in. And I understand, I get it, and we're happy to talk to you about it. But
yeah,
it's like, man, what could come next in this market? I don't know.
We don't know. We might be on here next week talking about it.
Maybe tomorrow. I hope not. So anyway, everybody stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you next time.